Hey there, friends. It's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And we're here with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast, where we take your favorite animals and rate them out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics. Except for this week, where we're not doing that. That's what I would be saying if we were having a normal episode this week.
There's a little, what's it called, subscript on that second one. Right?
Yeah. We've had to adjust our format just a little bit this week, but that's because we are doing something very exciting that a lot of people have asked us to do, something along these lines. We're taking a trip in the time machine.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back in time and reviewing 2 extinct animals which are no longer with us. So we've had to tweak our format just a little bit to be a little bit more fair to animals who are no longer with us. So it's going to be a little bit of an in memoriam for these creatures.
Yeah.
Really excited to talk about our extinct animals. Before we do, I do have a little bit of housekeeping. I want to talk to our listeners about the MaxFunDrive, which it currently is. This episode will be coming out during the first week of the MaxFunDrive. So folks who have been listening to us for a long time might remember last year's MaxFunDrive, or if you listen to a lot of other shows on the Maximum Fun Network, you might already be familiar with about how this goes. But basically the gist of it is that all of the shows on our network are produced by artists who get to own their content, and that is because we are supported by the audience. So this is the time of year that we just spend a couple of weeks really putting a lot of effort into offering y'all a lot of really cool bonus content, fun events, all sorts of stuff to really emphasize basically asking you for your support for this show. We don't like to make that request too frequently, so we basically cram it all into 2 weeks of intense messaging that also comes along with really cool and exciting new stuff.
Some of it's silly and goofy.
Some of it is, yeah. So later on in this episode, when we take our break between our segments, I'm going to talk more about some of the details of the MaxFunDrive and some of the benefits to people who are able to sign up for a new membership or upgrade their existing memberships during the drive. I'm going to talk about things like our bonus content and the gifts that people can get, the actual material items that you can receive for this membership. So stick around. In the middle of the episode, I'm going to talk about all that stuff. I'm really excited about it because I'm just really psyched. The content this year is so good. Especially, I mean, like, you know, everyone's is great, but especially ours.
Yeah.
Ours is really good. So you can join over at MaximumFun.org/join. We'll talk a little bit more about it later. For right now, let's do the show.
Yeah.
And Christian, you go first this week.
Yep. So we mentioned going back in time. This one is a good bit way back in time.
I must admit, I don't know how far back.
Well, I'll get to that and more.
And more. What a teaser.
But this week, I'll be talking about the Megalodon.
The Meg.
Scientific name, Ototus megalodon. Meaning ear-shaped tooth and giant tooth, respectively.
Ear-shaped tooth, giant tooth.
Yes. Shortened to giant ear-shaped tooth.
Oh, okay.
I suppose,
yeah, you could paraphrase it.
Yes. I don't believe this was submitted by any listeners.
Now, folks in general have been asking us to do episodes on extinct animals.
Yes.
Which is not completely unprecedented. A while back, we had a guest episode where I spoke with Natalie Sabin about the dodo, which was really fun. But this is our first time, you and me together, going on a time machine trip together.
Yes. I'll be getting my information from Australian Museum website, as well as Guinness World Records and Florida International Universities.
Nice.
So, Ototus megalodon, not to be confused with Canopsis megalodon.
I didn't know there was more than one megalodon.
This is the San Felipe ground snake found in Mexico.
Oh, what? You know what this feels like?
Huh.
This feels like in like Amazon items when they put a bunch of like search keywords in the title to try to like get people to stumble across your content by accident.
Apparently, big tooth is a very popular descriptor of animals.
Okay. That's true. Yeah, I guess Megalodon did kind of hog that title.
Yes.
It just feels like when you can tell when bloggers like cram every possible hot topic keyword into their title. This is SEO for the what did you call it? The San Felipe
ground snake.
Yeah, they were doing SEO for sure.
It's a nice snake though, from what I saw.
Aww.
I was excited because I thought, oh, Animal Diversity Web has something on this, but it wasn't. It was about a snake.
Got catfished.
This isn't right. So that being said, the megalodon we're talking about is a now extinct, very large shark. So the adult size was between 10 to 20 meters long, or 33 to 66 feet.
Wow, that's huge.
It is big, and that's about 1 to 2 city buses long.
How many chickens is that?
It was around 30, I think. I didn't include it because it wasn't a nice number.
Oh.
I wanted to say mega chickens, but it wasn't enough. That's about 3 times the length of today's great white shark.
Wow.
The largest great white shark. And its jaws were 3 meters wide, or 10 feet.
I feel like I've seen museum displays of megalodon jaws.
Yes.
This feels like a staple of like marine biology exhibits.
A recreation, of course.
Yeah.
But yes, that's a common aquarium and museum exhibit.
I'm a sucker for it every time.
It's a very good picture opportunity.
Oh, yeah, you get up in there?
As you might notice, most people would fit inside that size of jaws. Their entire body standing upright.
True. That's a lot of teeth.
Yes. Now, these measurements are mostly based on the fossilized teeth that have been found. And the working theory that its outline is similar to the great whites, so they're kind of they're assuming a similar ratio of tooth size to body length there.
Oh, so do they not have a full, complete skeleton of the megalodon?
They don't.
Really?
Yeah.
What if he just had giant teeth? What if he was just swimming around with big old buck teeth? You don't know.
And I'll talk more about why that is a little bit later.
Okay.
Why we only have teeth, mostly. Where they were found were warm ocean waters across the globe, approximately 23 to 3.6 million years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's been a minute.
So that's early Miocene to the Pliocene. But they still live closer to us in the timeline than they did non-avian dinosaurs. So to put that in scale, these things were a maximum 23 million years ago, whereas non-avian dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago.
Okay, so when you say non-avian dinosaurs, you're talking about like what we think of as like Jurassic Park,
Yes.
Land Before Time dinosaurs.
Yes, because when you say all dinosaurs went extinct, someone's going
That's
to say.
not true, yes. I feel that.
So yeah, I guess what would be called dinosaurs, what's the word? Meaning language used commonly.
Colloquially?
Yes, the colloquial meaning of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Went extinct.
So what you're saying is that Megalodon is closer to us on the timeline.
Yes.
Okay.
Than they are to dinosaurs.
Okay. That's not super comforting, but all right.
They belong to the taxonomic family Otodontidae. There are other extinct species in that same family and genus, but nothing that really popped off or anything that you would probably recognize.
Oh, well.
Some other large sharks, basically. I'll put it
okay. Sure. Big sharks. They've always been big.
Now, it was previously put in the same family and genus as today's great white shark.
Was that just based on vibes?
You
seem right.
Based on the teeth, they thought they were closely related, but not so much.
I mean, if that's all the information you have to go off of, right? You could be like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Seems like just a big one of those.
So this brings us to our first category of effectiveness. I'm getting a full 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. So we mentioned they're big. They're not just big, or they weren't just big. They were the largest shark to have ever lived that we know about.
That's huge.
Likely the largest fish in general, too. Now, that title was previously held by the also extinct bony fish, Leadsichthys problematicus.
What? Problematicus?
Yes.
It sounds like a very frustrated taxonomist that was just so over it.
It was a very large fish, and I'm guessing the problematic component is that they've they found bits and pieces of this fish, but not a full, skeleton.
No, I think it's actually just that this fish had, raunchy opinions.
Yeah.
This fish, went on a podcast and said a bunch of really insensitive stuff and said some really gross stuff on TikTok Live.
Disparaging small mammals.
Ugh. The most canceled fish.
Now, so yes, that fish held the title of largest fish until 2013 when new estimates placed its maximum length at 16 meters, down from 30 meters.
Okay. A little downgrade.
Yes. Now, the Megalodon, I think all sharks, if not, at least most sharks, if not all, it is a cartilaginous fish, meaning their skeletons are mostly made of cartilage instead of bone.
So rubbery bits.
Yes.
Not very hard bits.
And here's where that comes into play. Cartilage does not preserve very well.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. And my understanding is that teeth are like bone.
Correct.
Right? So teeth are made of the hard stuff.
Right. Their teeth were made of dentine and enamel.
Okay.
So that does preserve pretty well as a fossil.
But the cartilage is going to break down pretty easily.
Probably.
Okay.
You might find imprints of it in other materials, but that's, fairly rare.
And I guess with a creature of this size, you'd be hard-pressed to find an imprint fossil of something 60 feet long.
Sure. Now, back to its teeth. Lots of pointy teeth. So rows and rows of it, just like modern-day sharks. And like I mentioned, made of dentine enamel, so very hard. But, like modern-day sharks, they'll go through quite a number of them throughout its lifetime. They had a strong bite force. So strong enough that their bites have been found in fossils of whales, sea turtles, and other sharks.
Wow.
So even finding fragments of megalodon teeth in those fossils.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess that is one way that you could sort of reconstruct what their behavior must have been like, right? From seeing what they got their teeth stuck in.
Right. So we know it wasn't just their teeth that were big. They themselves were also big to be preying on some of these things.
Oh, true. Yeah, you'd have to be pretty huge to be, squaring up to a whale.
Right.
You have to be super confident.
And probably not surprising, they were an apex predator, meaning it had no natural predators of its own.
I guess orcas weren't around yet.
There were toothed whales, but I don't think orcas specifically. It spent its time relatively close to shore hunting prey.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's terrifying. All right. It's fine.
So that wraps up effectiveness.
No, hold on. Because
Yes.
I want to dwell on this, spending their time close to shore thing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people make assumptions that because of the vastness of the ocean, anything could be out there.
Right.
Right? So when you get into these, I'm sure that later on you're going to talk a little bit about the discourse about how extinct Megalodon is. I guess knowing that when they were alive, they spent a lot of time close to the shore.
Because that's where the things they hunted were.
Right.
Yes.
So I guess the idea that they might be just hiding somewhere out in the big, deep, vast ocean, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't, because that's not where their food would be.
Right. So we would have noticed by now. They'd be hanging around our shores and stuff, and we spend a lot of time there.
And I'll definitely come back to that.
Okay.
Very shortly, actually. Which brings me to our second category, which is historically ingenuity, but with it being a long extinct animal, there's not much I could get there other than inferred, hunting and such like that. So instead, I don't know how to describe this category. I just put "bring it back?" ? This
is a pass or fail.
Yeah.
Sort of. Should we bring them back?
Fail, I would say.
Okay.
I did give it a number. I gave it a 3 out of 10.
A 3 out of 10 for bring back ability.
Yes. So first, I want to talk about what you mentioned. How do we know it's gone?
Yes.
So first of all, we haven't found any fossil record younger than 3.5 million years old.
Oh, so there's a stop. There's quite a significant gap.
Yeah.
That is a very long time to be finding no trace whatsoever of an animal.
Yes, exactly. And like you mentioned, we would definitely notice if it was still here, especially in today's modern times with how much humans spend in the ocean.
Yeah.
So like we talked about, it hunts near the surface and close to the shore. And its size is massive. And also the lack of other sea life, corpses with 10-foot chunks bitten out of them.
True,
Because we would also find the things they're eating.
Right, yeah, because they're not always going to be, eating
Yes.
the entire body, right? They might be, because we see animals with bite wounds from other predators all the time, right? You'll see things with like a chunk taken out of it by like a great white or whatever.
Or a corpse that washes up, right?
Yeah, like something. You'd see some trace. And this thing has a mouth size that we for sure would be like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a little different, but, I think with the giant squid, we knew it existed long before finding a living specimen because we kept finding chunks of it.
Right.
Whether it be washed up on a beach or inside the stomach of a sperm whale.
Oh, so you're talking about like an actual corpse of a dead megalodon. Like we would have found a corpse of a dead megalodon.
That too. Probably.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of times stuff that dies out in the ocean, it floats, right? Like you might come across something that's dead and floating.
Yeah. Now, internet goers sometimes cite the case of the coelacanth.
Yeah.
As a potential source of hope for megalodon still existing, unbeknownst to science today. So, coelacanth, they were thought to have been extinct for 66 million years before live specimens were discovered in 1938.
As in, like, fishermen's caught live ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the difference here is that's a 2-meter-long fish.
Yeah, they're not that... I mean, they're big, but they're not...
They also live in deep waters. Mm-hmm. And their whole thing is minimizing energy costs and maximizing metabolic efficiency.
So they're slow.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Greenland shark.
Yeah, so they're basically like crawling around the bottom of the ocean.
So and they also passively eat small fish and cephalopods that happen to drift by it. So these aren't apex hunters.
Right.
So it makes more sense that the coelacanth went undiscovered like that.
Yeah. This tracks.
Yes.
That's normal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like, while coelacanth is an incredible story, it's very, very cool, we can't extrapolate that to everything that we think is extinct.
I saw an interesting descriptor for that, by the way.
What's that?
A Lazarus taxon.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. As like a taxon that was like thought to be dead and has been revived.
Right.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a Pokemon based on coelacanth.
Yeah.
It's called Relicanth. It's really cool.
It's pretty close. So, next thing I want to talk about is why is it gone? Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because it seems so, like, overpowered.
Right.
It seems broken. Oh, you know what? The devs put out a nerf for it. That's what happened. It was in a patch.
And the community stopped playing it, yeah. They all went to Zarya again.
Again.
But maybe not super interesting, but a big part of it was climate change. So the ocean temps at the time started to cool, which limited its range, being a fish.
Right.
Cold-blooded, etc. And a lack of prey and competition with things like large toothed whales that could be in cooler waters and worked in pods.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
all right. Whales are putting some pressure on Megalodon.
So they were much better adapted for the cooling temperatures.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Have you thanked a whale today for putting an end to the scourge?
Now, why we wouldn't want it back. So first off, it wouldn't do too great in today's oceans. The things it would likely hunt are not doing especially well themselves today, right? Other large sea creatures like whales.
Right.
And, human interactions would likely be disastrous.
Yeah.
On both sides, as we prove time and time again with other apex predators.
Nobody is having a good time.
Yeah. And while ocean temperatures are on the rise today, they are probably still cooler than what they were in Megalodon's heyday.
Sure.
And I had read elsewhere, I don't know how true this is, but, things like Megalodon going away are what allowed whales to get as large as they are today.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But also Megalodon being so huge, probably was taking up a lot of, when you look at like trophic levels, like there's only so much biomass an ecosystem can support. So with a predator that large, it's going to be taking up a lot of the fuel in the lower trophic levels. And
I came across that topic, and this isn't really related to Megalodon, but if you want an interesting thing to look into and read about is the debate around whether or not humans are considered apex predators in terms of a trophic level.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
I have to admit, I barely understand trophic levels, but I have heard trophic levels described as a reason we can deduce that Megalodon can't be alive today because we don't, like, the ocean's ecosystem would not be able to support a predator of that size.
Sure. Yeah, everything anywhere near that size is, feeding on much smaller things now.
Yeah, because we have animals bigger than that now. Like blue whales are far bigger than Megalodon ever was. But they're eating tiny things. They're not eating giant prey.
Right. And this brings us to our last category, aesthetics, unchanged for this episode. I think an 8 out of 10.
Now, see, this is going to be tough for Megalodon because, like you said, we only have teeth to go off of, really. So I guess you're going to have to go off of giving it our honest best as far as, like, paleo art and reconstructions go. Yeah,
it kind of goes back to that whole, the best we can do is just kind of imagine the great white shark just scaled up.
That, but big. Now, how pretty are the teeth? Are the teeth pretty?
I mean...
Are they cool looking?
They're pretty cool. The coloration, is different than what it probably would be.
True.
From a living specimen.
Yeah.
But I assume that they look super cool. That's my assumption.
Yeah, that's fair.
Today's closest sharks have a definite shock and awe quality to them in my eyes. So I can only imagine that the Megalodon would be that just 3 times over.
Yeah. I think that paleo artists should have more fun with Megalodon. They should give it just like bonkers features. Just absolutely ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
I like it when paleo artists just like do a little jazz with it. They just like improvise a little bit. They're like, I don't know, maybe.
Add throat sacs.
Oh, throat sacs. Everything needs throat sacs. You could just slap those on there. Because that's the thing. They wouldn't fossilize. You'd have no way of knowing.
These have elephant ears. Ha ha.
Can you imagine a 60-foot shark swimming around with big giant ears?
This is where we usually talk about our miscellaneous info, including conservation status, extinct.
Oh, great.
It's funny. I think the Australian Museum website cited IUCN as the... But I checked, and the IUCN does not have an entry for the Megalodon.
Oh, Lord.
Last assessed 20 million years ago. Population trend stable.
Yeah, stably 0.
And a little fun story here. So Megalodon is a popular topic in fiction. Both in movies and other things.
It is.
So there was a movie in 2018 called The Meg.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you're...
Which I believe was based off of a novel, I think. But, so we watched a different movie.
We did.
In the theater, and a trailer for The Meg came on.
It did. Which this trailer was a lot. It's an intense trailer.
Now, I must have been like half paying attention or something, because there was a part where they were doing this whole shows some film from the movie, and then here's a big word.
A giant word on the screen. Yeah, it was like spliced together, so you get like a few seconds of footage, giant word. A few seconds, giant word.
So what they were doing was like a chomp on this.
Oh, God, thing. That's what they were saying?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I only saw the first part. So I thought...
Chomp!
I thought this movie was called Chomp. Which made perfect sense to me.
Like, that was the title card. In theaters.
Chomp. Chomp. Starring, was it Jason Statham? Is that what that actor's name is?
I have no clue.
Hold on, I gotta look it up.
Affiliated with that film. I haven't seen the movie.
I have.
Well, you saw the movie?
Yeah, remember?
No.
I think I watched it on Prime or something.
Oh, you must have watched it without me, because I certainly did not.
What was it?
Did you like it?
It was okay.
Oh, okay. You heard it here first. A glowing review from Christian Weatherford.
It was Jason Statham.
Oh, yeah.
Action movie guy.
Yeah, that makes sense. He would be in that.
Even in the trailer's like, ugh, it's a Megalodon.
They should have made that the title of the movie.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I remember, like, a few weeks later, we were talking about, like, what movies we wanted to go see, and you said something to me like, is that movie Chomp out yet? I was like, what?
I was like, Chomp, Munch, something.
You tried so hard to communicate to me. You were like, it's like Chomp or, like, Munch or something like that. I was like, what? No, surely it's not.
Oh, by the way, so the whole thing with that movie is like, what? Megalodon is still around. It's been hiding in the deep ocean under this thermocline, and now that we sent a submarine down there, we opened up a doorway for it to come out, and then,
great.
Then it kind of plays out like a Jaws movie after that.
My understanding of the discourse is that movie spurred on a lot of like people watching the movie and taking it very seriously and earnestly, like beginning to become a Megalodon truther, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know where in the timeline that this lines up, but also some of that can be attributed to the Discovery Channel and their recent love of, what is it? Not mockumentary, but
just really bad documentaries.
Fiction, like fictional documentaries.
Oh yeah, okay. So back in like what was that? What was the mermaids one? That would have been in what, 2013, 2012, 2013 or so?
Yeah.
On Animal Planet. I cannot believe how badly they betrayed me after growing up as an Animal Planet kid in the golden age of Animal Planet. I can't believe they did this to me.
I think it was Discovery Channel, wasn't it?
The mermaids one was Animal Planet.
Oh.
I think so. I'm going to fact check myself as I say that out loud.
Yeah, this isn't some shade you want to throw.
Mermaids, The Body Found is a mockumentary television program styled as a documentary, originally aired on American TV channels Animal Planet and Discovery Channel.
Okay.
So it was both of them. And it was basically this fake documentary that was acting like these scientists had like developed basically the aquatic ape theory, which is this idea that a branch of like early human ancestors branched off and became aquatic, similar to, maybe cetaceans or something like that, giving us mermaids. But the documentary, this fake documentary, which was extremely fake.
Yes.
And not intended to be perceived as a real documentary, made no indication whatsoever that it was a fake fictional documentary that was not intended to be taken seriously.
Right.
Until the very end. Like in the closing credits. It was like, by the way, we made all this up. This is not true.
Yeah. So without digging too deeply into any one of those, there's been a series of those kind of mockumentaries where the criticism is that the network hasn't done enough, if anything, sometimes for the viewer to know that it is not real.
Right. Which I have to say, like, if they made it very clear that they're like, we're doing this for fun, like, I would not be so against having fun with the idea.
Right.
Like playing around with the concept, be like, using it as sort of like I like the idea of using the documentary format for science fiction, because that's what it is, basically. Sure. It's science fiction, but presented in documentary format instead of narrative format. And I like that idea. You just have to be honest about what it is.
The context is important.
Yes. Because if you're just like scrolling through the channels one day and you turn on Animal Planet and all you see, is this very serious looking documentary.
Yeah.
You're not going to have any reason. And then if you change the channel, right, before they're like, oh, by the way, this was all for jokes, right? Like,
it's like putting the script to Wild Wild West into a high school U.S. history book.
This is like the third time we've referenced Wild Wild West on this podcast, and I think we're at our quota. I think we can never mention it ever again.
We're the two people that saw it.
But like separately, because we both saw it as kids for some reason. I mean, I like the idea. I don't like the way it was executed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even with the mermaid ones, there was a scene where the mermaids fought a megalodon.
Probably.
So that's something.
I feel like the existence of Megalodon, I guess it depends on the timeline.
There's been a few other ones too about, Megalodon existing specifically, and, great whites, and it ties back into the Shark Week stuff. And
oh yeah.
Anyway, that's the Megalodon.
Thank you. How delightful. I know you like sharks.
Yes.
So if we wanted to do something special for it being a MaxFunDrive episode, and I thought that us having some fun with some extinct critters would be a really fun way to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, before we get to my animal, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about the MaxFunDrive that I mentioned at the top of the episode. Maximum Fun membership pays for shows. So audience members who really like the shows and want to support them, you sign up for a membership. It's a monthly membership. It starts as low as $5 a month. And that money is distributed to the shows that you listen to. So when you sign up for the membership, you tell the network which shows you like, and the network divvies that money up between the shows that you like. So it is just a really great way to very easily support the shows that you listen to. So throughout the year, we, keep that kind of low key, but then during the MaxFunDrive, this is the time we really go hard on, drumming up a lot of excitement. This, we do special stuff and we put together a lot of really exciting special content to ask for your support. So there are multiple different ways you can join. You can join, upgrade, or boost your membership. So if you already have a membership, you can increase your level of membership to a higher level. If you're not quite able to make it to the next tier, you can do a boost. That's just a little bit of the way. You can also gift membership. So if you know somebody that, wants a membership, but they maybe can't swing it, you can gift it to them. And at the $5 a month level, that gets you access to the bonus content. And I don't just mean like the bonus content for our show or the bonus content for this year. That gives you access to the entire bonus content library, which is every show's bonus content for every year that they've ever been on the network.
Yeah.
So for our show, we have a bonus episode from this year, and we have a bonus episode from last year that's on there. So if you sign up now at the $5 a month level, you can get access to both of those, but also the bonus content for every other show on the network. So like Let's Learn Everything, Sawbones, The Adventure Zone, stuff like that. Like every other show on the Max Fun network, you get all of their bonus content just at the $5 a month level. Also, our bonus content for this year is a banger. It slaps. It's so good. Our bonus content this year is us workshopping ideas for Fakeamon. So Christian and I each came up with ideas for Pokemon that don't exist, but we think they should. And we had a lot of fun just like talking them out, brainstorming, coming up with some fun ideas. It was really, really fun. I had a great time recording that. And it was a very exciting thing. It's one of those things where like we came up with the designs on our own so that you can listen to it without being familiar with Pokemon. Like you can listen to it without having played the games or anything and still enjoy it. So I'm really excited about that. I think everyone's going to really enjoy it. So in addition to the $5 a month bonus content, if you join or upgrade to the $10 a month level of Max Fun membership, then you get to choose a sticker, and there are stickers with designs for each show on the network. And our sticker, I almost screamed when I saw it because it is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. It is it is Charles Darwin. Oh. Chucking an iguana, but he's up mid-air with the iguana behind his back like an NBA poster. It's like NBA style Charles Darwin. He's like up in the air flying.
Darwin from center court.
Chucky D. Just yeeting this iguana. It's and the art is beautiful. It's really, really good. So that is the $10 a month level. Also, at higher levels, like the $35 and up level, you get a really beautiful apron that says Maximum Yum with a really beautiful design on it. We've got one already. It is incredible. You've used it while cooking already.
Yeah, it's very high quality.
Yeah. Sturdy.
It has at least 4 pockets going off memory.
You love it.
Like the pockets.
Utility apron.
Yeah.
And it's just cute. Also, you can't grill.
Did we say it's cute. Blue?
It is blue.
It is blue.
I mean, I'll put up a picture of you wearing it and being very cute on our social media.
Okay.
So it's really fun. There's other gifts also. If you want to learn more about what the gifts are at the other tiers, and if you want to sign up to support us and get in on these really cool gifts, you can do that over at MaximumFun.org/join. Oh, I also wanted to say what our goals are. every year we come up with our own little membership goals for, if we hit certain numbers of new people that are either joining for the first time or upgrading their membership. We have our own fun little rewards. And our first one is at the 100 mark. If we get 100 new or upgrading members, I will draw a set of animal emojis that will be available to download for free on our website. So little emojis that you can upload to your Discord server and use for that. Or I guess if you wanted to do something like print them out and use them as stickers, you could do that too. So I will just basically make 10 cute little animal designs that you could use for whatever you'd like and post them for free on our website. And then our next goal after that is going to be at 300. If we get 300 new upgrading, we will do a live nature documentary watch party. So on our Discord server, we'll hop in the voice channel and stream a nature documentary off of YouTube and provide our sort of live reactions and commentary on it, and hang out with folks in the chat and everything like that. So that will be a fun thing.
Oh yeah, that will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So if all that sounds great, then head over to MaximumFun.org/join and sign up to support us in our goals and keep our show going. Appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah. Totes. All right. Back in present day. Where are you taking us, Ellen?
I am taking you much more recently in the past.
Okay.
So just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the present. But geographically, I'm taking you quite far from where we are presently located.
Okay.
I'm taking you to Tasmania.
Ooh.
This is the thylacine.
All right.
Also known as the Tasmanian tiger. Scientific name is Thylacinus cynocephalus. The species was requested by Tiffany Gillette. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm getting my information from Australian Geographic, the Australian Museum, and the National Museum of Australia, which is a different thing. The National Museum of Australia is a government agency.
Oh.
The Australian Museum is different. The Australian Museum is in Sydney, and the National Museum of Australia is in Canberra.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar enough with the geography of Australia to know how far apart that is.
Well, Canberra is the actual capital of Australia.
Oh.
Yeah. So, if you're not familiar with the thylacine, let me introduce you. They were up to about 130 centimeters long, which is about 4 feet, with a tail of up to 65 centimeters long, or 2 feet.
Oh.
But they were only about 60 centimeters tall, which is about 2 feet. So they were long.
But short.
Long, yeah, short, sort of like stout little dudes.
Very long corgi.
Not quite to corgi proportions, no. But it's funny because they looked a lot like a dog.
Right.
They're very dog-like shape, but their tail was more sort of rigid and thick, more like a kangaroo's tail. And they had dark stripes just sort of over their butt. So like right over the hind portion of their back, these really dark tiger-like stripes. So not stripes all over, but just stripes on the back.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Now, originally, the thylacine was found in Australia, Papua New Guinea, and Tasmania. So originally they were on the mainland. They started out there. But then, around 5,000 years ago, thylacines went extinct in Australia and Papua New Guinea, leaving only the Tasmanian population behind.
Oh.
Yeah, so they were more widespread. And I'll give a little bit more about why that sort of first wave of extinction happened for the thylacine. Something we've actually already talked about on a previous episode, but I'll get into it. Now, for those unfamiliar, Tasmania is an island to the south of eastern Australia. So like think about the eastern side of Australia. It's directly south of there. And the last evidence of their presence in Tasmania was at the Beaumaris Zoo in Hobart, Australia, when the last known thylacine died on September 7th, 1936.
Oh.
It's pretty recent.
Yeah.
Like there's people alive today that still remember like that time. They probably didn't like know thylacine, but you know, like there's people alive that still remember the 1930s. So that's within living memory.
As children, yeah.
Yeah. It's within living memory.
Yeah.
Now, for their taxonomic family, thylacine were the last remaining member of their family, Thylacinidae, which they belonged to the order Dasyuromorpha, which are carnivorous marsupials.
Oh.
So they were marsupials. Their most well-known living cousins are the quolls and the Tasmanian devil.
Ah, okay.
So there are a bunch of others, but those are the two that I think you'd be the most likely to have heard of before. Especially when you think Tasmanian devil, right? That's a very sort of well-known carnivorous marsupial.
Yes.
So it is interesting that they bear such a striking resemblance to dogs or canines in general, because they're marsupials. So marsupials split off from the rest of, split off from placental mammals right after monotremes, basically. So they're so distantly related to any placental mammal that dogs or canines that they look like are more closely related to you and me as humans. They're more closely related to us, which is weird that they look so similar.
You mentioned monotremes.
Mm-hmm.
What are those again?
Monotremes are egg-laying mammals, such as platypus and echidnas are really the only living ones. That's what monotremes are. Ah. They shouted us out on Sawbones recently when they were talking about monotremes, which is very exciting.
Yes. Love those.
Yeah, that's great. We love them. So it is just weird that they look so much like dogs when they're not. Not only are they not dogs, but they're so far from dogs, right? That it's just an example of very striking convergent evolution. Now, just a little note on etymology here on the name of the thylacine. So thylacine comes from Greek. I think it means pouch. That's not the part I want to talk about.
Boring. No one cares. Get out of here.
That's not the part of that's not what I want to talk about when I talk about their name.
Okay.
So I'm going to quote a 2020 article by Teresa Tan for the Australian Broadcasting Company. And this article was about the new DC comic book superhero, who is an Indigenous Australian woman whose superhero name is Thylacine.
Oh.
Yes. So this is a quote from that article.
Yes.
In Palawakani, the reconstructed language of Tasmania's Aboriginal peoples, the word for thylacine is kaparunina, says Palawa woman Trish Hodge, co-founder of Tasmanian Aboriginal education group Nita Education. But in the old language, it is Corinna. Corinna is also the superhero's civilian name.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cool? That's such a neat little detail.
Yes.
Her regular, not superhero name is Corinna, which was the indigenous word for the thylacine.
Nice. What are her superpowers? Did you happen to find?
I mean, I didn't write it down. One of them was supervision. I think she has enhanced physical ability. She's part of the new Suicide Squad.
Oh.
I don't think she's in the movies, but she's, I guess, in the new Suicide Squad comics.
Okay.
Yeah, which I don't keep up with. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
We're not comic book people. I'm sorry. I just thought that was an interesting note about Thylacine, the superhero. Apparently, they did a lot of consulting with indigenous groups in Australia for this character.
Good.
Yeah. So to get into my ratings for Thylacine, first up is effectiveness. And I have to say, I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6 even. First of all, there's a really weird thing about them that I honestly could not find anything about why they can do this, but they could open their mouth to a much wider angle than most other mammals can. So they could open their mouth up to 80 degrees. Which I actually thought, I was like, that doesn't seem that much. That doesn't seem like that much. Until I tried to open my mouth to 80 degrees, and I was like, oh, wait, yeah, no, I can't.
It's gulper eel proportion, almost.
It was an extremely wide angle.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they had these really, long, narrow jaws. They almost look like crocodile jaws when they're open. So it makes a very, bizarre sort of effect. But also their tail vertebrae were mostly fused together, which made their tail very rigid. They're said to have been able to hop on their hind legs like a kangaroo. So they could get up on their hind legs and do a bipedal sort of hop. I don't think this was the sort of thing that they were kangaroos, I think, spend a lot of their time up on their hind legs. So I don't think this was to that degree. They still spent the vast majority of their time on all fours. But I think kind of like how a bear might be able to get up on their hind legs when the situation absolutely demands it. I think it was kind of like that.
I don't like the image my brain is making of this.
It's a little creepy, right?
Like
it's a little spooky.
Because I'm imagining, the thylacine on its hind legs with its long, narrow jaws open to nearly 90 degrees.
It's a little bit SCP sort of.
No.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Can I add another log to that fire?
What?
They were nocturnal.
There's going to be a survival game based on this in the next year.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah, very spooky. Spooky little dudes. Okay, I'm going to bring it back in. Thanks. Then. I'm going to shift the tone a little bit to something else about them that is a little bit less nightmare.
Palate,
yeah, not a nightmare fuel thing. Like other marsupials, they did have a pouch. That is sort of the defining characteristic of marsupials. They had a pouch. But there are a couple of things that made their pouch special.
Oh boy.
First of all, the pouch opened backwards.
Okay.
Towards their butt.
We've seen that before.
We have seen, so in koalas, their pouch opened sort of towards like the front.
Yeah.
Not the front, but like outward almost, I suppose. In such a way where like at certain angles, because of gravity, the pouch would be sort of pointing downward.
That's not much of a pouch, is it?
It's more than women's jeans get. But thylacine, it fully, like, the opening was, like, next to their tail and butthole.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
But there's another weird thing about their pouch, which is that both male and female thylacines had pouches.
Oh.
Yeah. In females, it was for the obvious reason of carrying their young around. Yeah. And in males, it served as a protective sheath for their reproductive anatomy.
Interesting.
Yeah. They would just tuck it in there for safekeeping.
This feels like there's some other stuff here that you maybe can't talk about.
Well, I mean, nothing that people know about or that I could find, at least in the research, like maybe they were doing something weird with it. I don't know. Like, we just don't know. I would tell you if I could. That's a great mystery lost to time. Now we'll never know. We could have known. It's just weird that they had that they both male and female had pouches. Yes,
because obviously in modern day marsupial, I say it like it's not a modern day marsupial, but other marsupials, they're obviously able to not develop those early in their development.
Unique. Yeah. It's a very unique trait. Yeah, it's really weird. So, the timeline of the thylacine's first wave of extinction, so that 5,000 years ago, where they went extinct from everywhere except for Tasmania, that lines up with the introduction of dingoes to Australia. Well, not necessarily with dingoes. Humans came into Australia with dogs that were with them that over time became dingoes. Hey, it's me editing the episode. I wanted to make a note in here to clarify the timeline. Humans are believed to have first arrived in Australia somewhere around 48,000 to 50,000 years ago. At the time, Tasmania was connected to Australia via a land bridge, which people crossed to settle on the island before the sea level rose and it became separated. However, the dogs that would later become dingoes are not thought to have arrived until much later, between 5,000 and 10,000 years ago, from Borneo and Sulawesi. By that time, the land bridge had disappeared, so dingoes didn't populate Tasmania. Okay, back to the episode. So there are some hypotheses as to why this happened. First of all, one of the most common ones is that dingoes are thought to have outcompeted the thylacine. So marsupials tend to have much slower metabolisms than placental mammals, and therefore they need less food. So thylacine wouldn't have needed to eat as much. And then when dingoes came into play, they lived in much greater density. So they live in packs, right? So you'd have a lot of dingoes that lived in a small area. And then the dingoes also needed more food per dingo because they have a faster metabolism. So they would have consumed way more prey than the ecosystem was used to. And then that wouldn't have left enough prey left over for thylacine to survive off of. So that's one idea about how that could have played out. Another thought about that is that even though the thylacine could exert stronger bite force, research by the University of New South Wales showed that thylacine's skulls actually weren't very good at bearing mechanical stress. So whereas dingoes were probably not as powerful as thylacine, they were probably more effective at killing larger prey. Because, first of all, they hunt in packs, so they have numbers, and thylacine didn't. But also that they had more resilient skulls, and they could probably fight larger prey. Which is why it's kind of weird that they could open their mouth so wide. Because why would you need to open your mouth that wide if you're not eating large prey? Right?
I can't think of any reason.
I for the life of me, I tried looking around to be like, why? Why is this a thing? Because you can see it when they yawn. There's videos of them yawning.
Right.
And it's bizarre how wide their mouth opens when they do it. But for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why. Just one of those mysteries left dangling by extinction. Dingoes are also, in general, larger than thylacine ever was. So, combined with the fact that dingoes typically live and hunt in packs, if the dingoes and thylacine were ever in direct conflict with each other, the dingoes would have won. If they ever fought, the dingoes for sure would have killed thylacine.
Yeah.
That's not thought to be like a huge factor in their extinction. It's just, but if you were to put them together in a fight, the dingo would probably win. And all that information, by the way, was from a paper titled, "Could Direct Killing by Larger Dingoes Have Caused the Extinction of the Thylacine from Mainland Australia?" And that was by Mike Letnick et al. In the Public Library of Science in May of 2012. Well, the dingoes, at least, did not make it into Tasmania, so that's thought to be why the thylacine went extinct from the areas where the dingoes were, but still did fine where there were no dingoes. So, what used to be the ingenuity category. I did, even though we're not doing ingenuity ratings because we don't have a lot of information about them, I did want to include some notes on thylacine behavior.
Okay.
Because they did overlap with humans. They did live alongside humans for thousands of years, so we do have information about their behavior. Unfortunately, due to the fact that they were mostly nocturnal and they were also really shy, we don't have a ton. But we have something. Paleontologists have actually examined the anatomy of their joints to determine their hunting behavior. So researchers determined that the shape of their elbow joints allowed them to twist their arms around. So, for example, they could turn their paws upward facing.
Okay.
This is similar to the joints of cats. So they had similar range of paw movement that cats do. So the thinking about this is that this kind of range of movement is similar to what we see in ambush predators like cats, suggesting that that would have been how the thylacine hunted. So rather than being a pursuit predator like a canine, they were probably an ambush predator that just waited until prey was close enough that they could then ambush it. And that's from a paper titled "The Predatory Behavior of the Thylacine, Tasmanian Tiger or Marsupial Wolf." Oh. Yeah, and that was by Borja Figueiredo and Christine M. Janis in Biology Letters in May of 2011. And then one more note on their behavior. There is an account by indigenous storytellers that I would like to read from an article in The Clearing titled "Words of Life" by Nicholas Evans. This was published on November 28th, 2018. And Nicholas writes, "But through those millennia of the thylacine's absence from the mainland, indigenous groups from Western Arnhem Land, such as those who speak Benin Kunwok, have kept alive both a name for it, Janger, and a detailed memory of its appearance and behavior, thanks to the combination of storytelling traditions and extraordinary rock paintings at places like Korlanjor, Deaf Adder Gorge, and Kunjorlamjorlam on the upper reaches of the Liverpool River in Arnhem Land. This knowledge, transmitted down through the generations, has given Janger a ghostly afterlife. A recent children's book in the Kunwinku dialect of Benin Kunwok tells of two thylacines hunting and bringing down a kangaroo by biting at its tail. At the end of the story, both the thylacines and the kangaroo fall off a cliff into a creek and are transformed into fish. The fact that the thylacine is transformed into an archerfish references the visual link that archerfish, like thylacines, have stripes on their tails.
I see. And archerfish as in shoots water to...
Yes. Okay. Yeah, the little fish that shoot jets of water out of their mouth to shoot prey down onto the water. So that's an interesting story of thylacines hunting kangaroos by pulling their tails. Because like I mentioned earlier, like they wouldn't have been able to really like struggle with a kangaroo because kangaroos are really powerful and could easily have just, kicked them to shreds. But if they were doing something like teaming up to use their tail to throw them off balance, that could have been a way that they hunted kangaroos.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But as far as bring back ability goes, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm going to give them like a 6 out of 10 for bring back ability.
Okay.
I really can't develop strong feelings either way because I can see either side very clearly. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. First, I want to talk about aesthetics for the thylacine.
Oh.
I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10. This is a gorgeous creature.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. They're so pretty. There is footage of the last living thylacine. It was recorded by biologist David Flea at the Hobart Zoo in 1933. And to quote Australian Geographic, the cameraman who took the famous footage of the last captive Tasmanian tiger was bitten on the buttocks while filming.
Huh.
Yeah. I guess while he was filming, the thylacine did not like where he was standing and nipped him on the butt.
Lynch.
Just
Is the video in black and white?
It was originally in black and white, but in recent years it's been colorized. So you can actually go on YouTube and look up. It's the original footage, but it's been basically restored. So it's been colorized, but they also, I don't know what the process is to like remaster footage or something, but it looks very good.
That's
like
cool.
It looks very clear. It kind of makes me sad to see though. It's very strange. It gives me a very bizarre feeling to watch.
Yeah.
Because it looks so real, like it looks so like modern and it just gives you a sense of like loss, and it gives me very strong feelings to watch this footage. But they are hauntingly beautiful, not only because of the knowledge that they're now gone, but also because of their just really strikingly unique facial features. It reads dog at first when you see it. It looks like it gives you the feeling of like, this is a dog, but like not quite right. It's like, this is a dog that has something weird about it. Like they have these really sort of wide skull with their eyes that are like really far apart, like way farther apart than you'd expect a dog's to be. Mm-hmm. And then their jaws are really, really long, but also really, really narrow from the front. So like I said, like a crocodile, like it looks like a crocodile sort of face. They also have this sort of like very rigid tail that isn't quite what you expect from a dog body, because it is the sort of that back half of their body does kind of look very kangaroo-like. Mm-hmm. So it just gives you a strange feeling to see them, that they look so halfway between like a dog and a kangaroo.
I don't recall. Was there no naturally occurring canines in Australia prior to the introduction?
Correct. There had been no canines, and I think no felines either.
Okay.
So large carnivores were not really a thing in Australia until dogs were introduced. So after disappearing from everywhere else, thylacines held strong in Tasmania for thousands more years until Europeans arrived in the early 1800s. And that's never a good sign. Nothing good ever happens after that. So Europeans arrive in Tasmania. At that point, there's believed to be about 5,000 thylacine, which doesn't sound like that many, but it's not a huge island, right? That's a reasonable number. So the Europeans who colonized Tasmania brought with them sheep and cattle. The livestock often didn't take too well to the landscape. Tasmania has some extreme weather at certain times. So I watched this documentary where at one point somebody described it as you can get all 4 seasons in one day. You can get one day ranging from like very severe heat to extreme cold in the same day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard people say the same about Florida, but this sounds like more legitimate.
No, this is more, in Florida, it really never gets that cold, but it gets really cold in Tasmania. Right. So you can get like a wide range of temperatures and weather conditions. So it's kind of harsh, like you get some kind of extreme weather in Tasmania. So the Europeans, they weren't accustomed to the land, and they really struggled to manage it properly. It's very different from the land they're really used to. And so they lost a lot of livestock that way. Like things were dying and things weren't going well. However, they blamed their losses not on a skill issue, rather than accepting a user error. They blamed the thylacine,
Man.
saying that thylacine was like killing their livestock because they see the thylacine. They think this must be analogous to the wolves and foxes that we're accustomed to that, you know, have historically come into conflict with our livestock.
Common colonizer ill.
Yeah. So they started to hunt thylacine proactively. The farmers in this area started to hunt them proactively to the extent that the government introduced bounties for thylacine. So they would pay for the skins as proof that you had killed the animal. And this went on for nearly 100 years. By the end of the bounty system in 1909, more than 2,000 thylacine bounties had been paid. The total number of thylacine killed by humans is believed to be at least 3,500 in a less than 100-year period. Which, keeping in mind that they started with 5,000, right? And so that is a devastating population loss in a very short amount of time. Public opinion on the thylacine began to swing in the other direction in the 1930s.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that's when people suddenly decided that they wanted to play nice with thylacine. The species was granted federal protection as an endangered species in 1936. The last known thylacine died 59 days later.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was kind of too little too late at that point.
Yeah.
They added the last remaining one to the endangered species list.
The literal absolute minimum.
Yeah, the absolute bare minimum. So, like, by that point, what are you going to do? Like, there's none of them left to protect. And they were never seen again.
I bet that was more of a PR stunt than anything.
Yeah, like trying to pretend like you suddenly care about them. So they were never seen again. There is a lot of anecdotal evidence. People have said they've seen thylacine. Since then, on and off over the years, people have claimed to have camera trap footage and photographs of thylacine that have never been deemed conclusive. They've never been verified. This happens every couple of years. Somebody will say they've got a thylacine photo, and then it never is.
How much of those are coming from Tasmania?
Well, yeah, a lot of times it is people that either live there or go there to try to find them.
Because I guess I assume maybe some of this was coming from mainland Australia, which would be even...
That would be an even bigger stretch because they haven't lived there in like over 5,000 years. Okay. It wouldn't be completely out of the question to think that a couple of them have been hiding for the last 100 years. Hey, it's me with an edit. Just before this episode was posted, but after we had already recorded and edited it, a paper was published in the journal Science of the Total Environment titled Resolving When and Where the Thylacine Went Extinct, where researchers actually put together a database of reported thylacine sightings from Tasmania, assigned them an uncertainty value, and analyzed the patterns they showed along with visualizations of their movement to model the decline of the thylacine's population. To quote the paper, a direct reading of the high-quality records, confirmed kills and captures in combination with sightings by past thylacine hunters and trappers, wildlife professionals, and experienced bushmen, implies a most likely extinction date within 4 decades following the last capture, i.e. 1940s to 1970s. However, uncertainty modeling of the entire sighting record, where each observation is assigned a probability and the whole dataset is then subject to a sensitivity analysis, suggests that extinction might have been as recent as the late 1980s to early 2000s, with a small chance of persistence in the remote southwestern wilderness areas. So what this basically means is that while the last scientifically confirmed thylacine died in 1936, there were probably still some left in the wild until sometime between the 1940s and 1970s, with a small but not impossible chance that they could have been hiding in southwestern Tasmania even until the 1980s or early 2000s. It's a really interesting update to their extinction timeline, and I recommend that anybody interested take a look at the paper. I will link it in the episode description. I'd also like to thank Ivan Kwan for bringing the paper to my attention after this episode was initially posted. Thanks. Back to the episode. But yeah, people on and off over the, every couple of years or so, you'll get somebody who will post a YouTube video with a very provocative thumbnail that's usually like, "Did I find a thylacine?" No, you didn't. They never do. So due to how recently the species went extinct and how many specimens we still have in relatively good condition, like with animals that went extinct like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the specimens break down and degrade over time, and then you lose a lot of integrity of the specimens. But we have some thylacine specimens in really good shape still. Yeah. We have wet specimens, like a full, complete. They're mostly like either fetuses or like babies. It's not an adult, but we have complete thylacine specimens preserved in jars.
Yeah.
So due to the fact that we have data like that, the thylacine has been strongly suggested and debated as a candidate for de-extinction. So the idea is that they would use science to bring the species back from the dead. This is a controversial process, but I also think it's very frequently misunderstood. I think when people hear de-extinction, they think like Jurassic Park, growing
life finds a way.
Yeah, life finds a way sort of thing, which, admittedly, it's been a really long time since I saw a Jurassic Park movie. But, the idea behind that is like you use the DNA to basically make a new one of that animal. Like exactly the same as it was when it lived on the earth, right?
Well, in Jurassic Park.
No, you've probably seen it. You probably at least remember it better than I do.
In Jurassic Park, the whole thing was they weren't exact clones of dinosaurs as they existed. They were some parts of dinosaur DNA spliced with frog DNA.
Okay.
So the idea is the end result is something similar, but not exact.
So this is actually kind of similar to that, but basically the idea is that like you use what you know about the extinct animal's DNA and then tweak existing DNA to be more like that, so that over time eventually you arrive at something that is very, very similar to what we once had. So it wouldn't be like, respawning an entire thylacine as they existed, 100 years ago. But either way, there are some major pros and major cons to the entire de-extinction process. I think some of the biggest pros are, first of all, getting the species back, having them again, like huge cultural significance there, like people of Tasmania really resonate with this animal. It's like of a lot of cultural significance to the people who live there. And I think there's also some suggestion that you could reintroduce them to restore some of the original balance to the ecosystem. The idea is that if you can reintroduce them, then it can kind of regulate the ecosystem as it was when they were alive. But some of the biggest cons are that the ecosystem has likely changed a lot since the species existed. And they likely wouldn't just easily slot right back into it. So with the thylacine, this is an animal who we don't know what would have happened to it if humans hadn't proactively hunted it. If we hadn't gone out of our way to intentionally destroy the species, maybe they could have competed with dogs. Maybe they could have evolved and adapted over time and outcompeted with introduced species. They might have been fine. We don't know, right? They could have. We didn't give them a shot, basically. They didn't have a chance because humans went out of their way to intentionally kill them off.
But I think what we've seen a couple times now is that humans with the will and means can overcome a species having a problem with introduced species. So if it did have a problem with dogs and wasn't being actively hunted, that was within human means to assist.
Yeah, and we didn't. We weren't really interested in doing that at that time. So the idea is that if you were to bring thylacine back, they would face the exact same problems that they did the first time around, which are, by now, Tasmania has had lots of new species introduced to it that choked them out on the mainland, right? So it's they're just going to go extinct all over again, and then you're going to make the entire de-extinction process a huge waste of time and money and resources that could have been dedicated to protecting the ecosystem as it is now.
Sure.
You could just invest all of those resources and all of that time and money and energy and effort into conserving what we have to make sure we don't lose anything else. There's also some conceptual challenges to the idea that we need to grapple with the permanency of extinction and process it. The idea is that if we lose a species, it's gone forever, and we can't feel like we can just bring them back, right?
So we're kind of in the bargaining phase of grief over the extinction of the thylacine.
Yes. It's kind of like if we feel like we just have the de-extinction process to fall back on, that could actually discourage conservation efforts. Right? So if you were to say, you know, we need to conserve this land because we need to protect this endangered species, you don't want a rebuttal to that to be, well, why should we protect this species when we could just bring it back with science anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we were to say, you know, okay, we need to protect this. Let's say there's a preserve in Florida that is a known habitat for Florida panthers. And we say, like, we need to protect and preserve this area because it's to protect the Florida panther that lives there. If the rebuttal to that is, well, why should we protect this land when we could just de-extinct the Florida panther anyway? And then that feels like they have a free pass to do whatever they want with the land, because then it's like, well, who cares if you go extinct? Because then we can bring you back.
Yeah.
It's something that would just get in the way of conservation, basically.
Maybe. I mean, it's an argument that would quickly fall apart among people of science, but would probably not be like that with the people making those decisions.
Exactly. Yes. That's the problem. You have to think about, like, you know, how is this, what are going to be the long-term, like, repercussions of us having access to this technology?
Right.
So yeah, big thoughts about that. Like, there's actually a really, really good, really recent episode of Let's Learn Everything, which is another Maximum Fun podcast, on de-extinction, especially as it pertains to the dodo. So they focused on the dodo in their episode, but they also go a lot more into, like, the science behind the resurrection process.
Well, let me ask the question: have we successfully de-extincted something?
I only know of, just off the top of my head, I didn't make a note of this, I only know off the top of my head of a species of tortoise. You know what? Let me look this up before I talk on this. There is an ongoing attempt at de-extinction of a tortoise species called the Floriana giant tortoise, which is an extinct subspecies of the Galapagos tortoise that are found on a specific island in the Galapagos archipelago. And the idea is that this tortoise did go extinct in the 1800s, but at some point, hybrids of this species, like between this species and a different one, were discovered elsewhere in the Galapagos Islands. So there is an ongoing breeding program that is attempting to use those hybrids to basically work backwards and, like, back into the original Floriana tortoise.
Okay.
I can't speak to its success. Like, I don't know if it's working, but I know that it is something that is actively being attempted.
Sure.
And that's not the sort of thing that's being done, like, in a lab with, well, I'm sure it's being done, like, in a lab and stuff, but that's not really, like, gene splicing and stuff.
Right.
That's like they're just breeding tortoises together to try to get back to the original traits.
Yeah, and that's a very specific case.
It's kind of like a low-tech version of Jurassic Park.
Right.
Whereas with Jurassic Park, you'd have to go through many generations to work backwards to T-Rex.
And that's probably something you wouldn't probably see very often outside of the Galapagos.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, as far as should they be brought back, I'm still at like a 6 to maybe 4 out of 10, you know, because part of me is like, we really did not give them a chance at all. Like, if it weren't for human aggression towards them, maybe they could have survived. They could have made it. We'll never know, you know?
Yeah.
I also feel like that all of those resources could be allocated better to just protecting what we have.
Yeah. Because bringing it back, the best you could hope for is that it would face the exact same adversities it did previously.
Right. Like, would we be dooming it to an entire existence that is dependent on, like, human care? Like,
and that's the best case, because the more likely case is that it's gonna have to face that same thing. Plus, now the hole it left in the ecosystem has been filled by something else.
Yes, actually, that is very true, because now introduced species like dogs and cats and stuff have filled the niche that thylacine once did. So now it's going to have to compete with them, you know, and basically edge its way back in if it were to be reintroduced.
Yeah.
So, you know, the only way I could think of that really realistically panning out is that, you know, we bring them back only to need to keep them in captivity forever, which, you know, at that point, that's ethically dubious. Like,
sure.
because captivity should work towards, conservation and stuff. So thylacine is a really interesting animal to explore those concepts with because it went extinct so recently and as a direct result of like human behavior. So we're kind of having to like sit in our room and think about what we've done at this point.
Yeah. And it's far from being the only species that have gone extinct in recent history, but it's probably up there as one of the more charismatic ones.
Oh, yeah, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And people like them. Interesting concepts to explore with this animal. That's the thylacine. I'm glad I got to talk about it finally.
Yeah. You have to go explore those elsewhere now. Sorry.
No, don't worry. They'll keep me up for the rest of the night. I'll be fine. I'm glad to do an episode that's a little different from what we usually do. It's kind of a trip through time and history, and it's a fun thing that we get to do. And, we get to do exciting stuff and we get to like break from our format and everything like that because, we have the freedom to make this show the way that we want to make it. And that's because, we still own the show. Like we're on the Maximum Fun Network, but you and I completely own and control the content of the show. It's really, really nice to be able to be a part of a network that like lends its resources and its staff and things like that to us without us having to sacrifice our like freedom to make the show that we want to make, which we can do all of that because of support for the Maximum Fun Network. So if this show has in any way meant something to you during your time listening to it, if it has helped you in any way, or if it's enriched your life in some way, and if you have the funds available, like if you've got a couple extra bucks laying around and you want to use it to support this podcast, which is essentially a big free science communication project. If that is something that is important to you and means a lot to you, then we just ask that you consider heading over to MaximumFun.org/join and signing up to keep our show thriving and surviving.
Yeah.
So that we won't go extinct. That's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not. I shouldn't pretend there's a risk of that.
No.
We'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music that absolutely bops and slaps and is fire and other slang words that I definitely know and understand the meanings of.
It gets lots of praise among the community.
It does. I hear from a lot of people that you dance along to it or make the little animal sounds or have a lot of fun with the song, which is like exactly what I wanted from the song. So I'm very thankful every day to Louis Zong for making the song for us. And that's it. We'll be back next week. Next week, we're hearing from y'all. We're opening our mailbag and reading your stories and questions and comments and all sorts of stuff. So we're looking forward to that. See you next week. Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned. Audience supported.